Hello, welcome to today's audio log. The time is 7:23 p.m. on the 18th of March 2024. And I've been away for a few days, but I'm back. I spent the weekend meeting with family, and it took up most of the weekend, so I was not really able to record an audio log. I was also away from home, so I didn't have access to a computer. But yeah, so I had a pretty busy weekend. On the last Friday, we traveled down south to my grandma's house and the village that she lives in. We had rented a space for the weekend. That's where we stayed. It was like a 3 hour. Actually, it was more closer to 4 hours on the way down there because the traffic was so bad. It's usually around a 3 hour trip, but yeah, took us a little bit longer to get down there. Once we arrived, we unpacked everything, got ourselves situated in the accommodation, and then I think, yes, we had dinner with my grandma. Since she lives like 5-10 minutes away from the seaside, it only makes sense to have fish and chips. I mean, fish and chips is a British staple anyway, but down by the seaside, that's when it's best. So we had that with her on the Friday night. Saturday, we met up with my grandma again, and took a train to another family member's house, basically. They met us at the train station on the other end, and they drove us to their house, and that's where we stayed for the Saturday. First time for me being in that house. It was a big house. I mean, I was pre-warned. I was told about this ahead of time, that it was a large house and there would be ample space for everyone. And there was. It was a large house. Almost everyone was there. Only one part of the family couldn't make it because, believe it or not, they came down with COVID, so they could not come. They are fine, but I do find it a little bit amusing that we tried to do this family gathering back in January, but I came down with COVID at that time. So we cancelled the whole thing last time because myself and my mother both got COVID, and we had already travelled down at that point, so it was too late to kind of call it off and just say that we weren't going to go. We were already there, so we kind of just had to cancel the whole thing, unfortunately. So we rescheduled it for this past weekend. And it's like some sort of family curse has hit us. Another part of the family came down with COVID, so they weren't able to come, but everyone else was there. And honestly, it was hectic enough without them. Not saying that I'm happy they weren't there, but if they were there, it would have been even more chaotic than it was. And the reason why it was so chaotic is because my aunt, or one of my aunts, the house that we stayed in for the Saturday, She has a 3-year-old, and this 3-year-old is just a bundle of pure energy and chaos and just I don't even know. It was a lot to handle. It was the first time meeting him. He had never met me before, obviously. He didn't even know my name. But he did at one point call me the man. So I'm going to roll with that and just call myself the man from now on, because I thought that was quite funny. But this 3-year-old, wow, he was something. I think within the first 5 minutes of arriving and sitting down, I was shot with his Nerf gun about 6 times, I think. Yeah. That was my welcome party. So I bunkered down in this armchair and I covered myself in pillows and cushions, and I just had to hide from this child. He was out to get me. It was a war zone in that room. He was running, he was screaming, he was shooting everyone with his Nerf gun. It was very entertaining, very tiring, but it was good. It was a good time. After that chaos kind of settled down a little bit, we had some food. My aunt's partner, I don't think they're married, partner, we'll say, he did all of the cooking. I think he has some sort of culinary background, so the food that he made was pretty good. He has like a smoke house as well on the property, so he was in there smoking all this food. We had like this barbecue situation. It was great. Good stuff. After the meal, we took a family photo because we have not had one of those in a very long time. Unfortunately, the people that weren't there obviously were not in it, so it wasn't a full family photo, but it was as full as we could get. And then after we had some food, we kind of just chilled for the rest of the afternoon. I got to talk with my brother, my aunt, who I haven't seen in a while. It was a good time. A bunch of my cousins were there, so yeah, it was nice. After we were done there, we went back home, took the train back. We spent the rest of the evening kind of just relaxing because the family gathering was a bit draining. We did play a game of Scrabble in the evening, though. I won. And then it was time for bed, so we just went to bed. The next day was our final day, the Sunday. We had to wake up somewhat early because we had to check out of our accommodation in the morning. But I spent, after I'd finished like packing all my things up and everything, I spent my time walking around. I took a walk along the coast, initially with my mother and my sister, and then they eventually went back to the place we were staying at just to make sure everything else was like cleared up. And then I went off on my own and I walked down the coastline along a shingle barrier, just like a big mound of stones, basically. I just walked along there, enjoying the view. That was nice. It was nice for the whole thing was nice, right? But gradually, my vision became poorer and poorer because these really low clouds came in, and it was like a fog. Like I couldn't see anything. So that kind of obscured my view a little bit. But regardless, I had a good time, good walk. Surprisingly, did not feel tired after that walk. I probably went. I was probably walking for about 45 minutes. I think, yeah, something like that. It was a decent amount of time. But yeah, after that, I regrouped with the rest of the family. Well, I say the rest. I mean my mother and my sister and my grandma, because we were all gonna have lunch together before we left. We did that, and then it was time to go. And so we drove back yesterday. Took about 3 hours, about the normal amount of time. And then got home like 5:30 in the evening. And then I spent the rest of my evening hanging out with my two friends. We played some games together, and we just kind of talked and caught up a little bit, and it was nice. So yeah, that was my weekend. Busy weekend. Today has not been particularly interesting. I haven't really done much. I kind of just done my own thing, I guess. However, I was kind of forced into looking after Luna for a few hours today. And in that time, I kind of just watched some YouTube videos, and the typical sort of things that I would do on a Monday. Yeah. One important thing that did happen today, though, was So I think I've already explained this, but just in case, I'm going to do a quick overview. Basically, alongside my university accommodation application, I had to send in like this form, basically talking about all of the additional requirements that I would need when at university. And I had to get my doctor to sign it and like kind of confirm all these things. We sent in that application form like 3 weeks ago, maybe longer, and it's taken them this long to sort it out. It's been really frustrating to deal with that. Just a lot of back and forth, and the people at the reception that we keep talking to, they just seem so incompetent in their jobs. I mean, I don't have their job. I don't know how difficult it is or how hard it is or whatever. But all we needed was for them to find our form and give it to the doctor, take it back from the doctor, and then give it back to us. It was super simple. It should have taken 1 week maximum. It's taken like 3. But it is done now, and it has been sent off to the university, so that is now like a part of my accommodation application, and hopefully it will be enough to sway them into giving me the accommodation that I most want. So fingers crossed, I guess. Yeah. And I think that's about it, to be honest. Nothing else has really happened that I feel is worth mentioning. Tomorrow will be D&D, hopefully, if everything goes as planned. And then the rest of my week is pretty standard. So, I think that will call it. I'll call it here for today. Yeah. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it. It's been a bit of a long one today, but I had some things to catch up on, so there you go. I will be back tomorrow for the next one. So thanks again, and good night.